Good morning, Melinda. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right.
So I was thinking of doing a cooking show today, and you mind if I use some of your potatoes here?
That'll be fine.
So what are some of the benefits of having these potatoes in the brine?
They're really quick if you've got a busy night and get in late trying to cook. They are good for diabetics because the starches are pulled out of them with the water.
So a little bit less sugar content.
Yeah.
And the water you're putting in, that's not a brine solution with salt, right? That's just...
It does have salt in it.
Okay. But then we rinse that off, and then low sodium, no sugars.
Correct.
Very nice. And it looks like you have some jams and some apple pie filling and some other yummy stuff.
Yes.
Is it easy to find you on Facebook?
Yes. Just got to look up Melinda Winham.
Okay.
All right.
We'll see how these cook up.
All right.
Well, what do we have today? Anything you'd like to contribute?
Sure, we have some farm fresh eggs to offer
Ooh,
today.
yummy. Let's take a look at these. Those look nice. I love the green ones.
Very pretty.
Well, we will see what we can do with some eggs.
Great, thank
Awesome.
you.
Is it easy to find you on Facebook?
Sure, Melissa Badolo.
Awesome.
Find me there.
Okay. So today we're going to make a little local hash. We have a cast iron pan, and we're going to simply use the cast iron pan with another cast iron pan on top of it to form basically a little Dutch oven. Our main ingredients are going to be some brined potatoes, locally procured, and some fresh eggs, also local. We're going to have as a garnish some fresh garlic and some Daikon Radish. And the only store-bought ingredient is just a little bit of canned tomato paste. We're going to use that as a browning element. So I'm going to take a little bit of this first, a nice big healthy dollop. I'm going to throw that in the bottom of that real quick with a little bit of the brine from the potatoes. And we're going to reduce that. I'm going to turn this down to low. Stir this up in here. You just want to kind of get that sauce nice and browned. Browning the tomato paste is going to enrich in the flavor, remove some of that acidity, and it's just going to change the whole flavor and consistency of the hash. You could do this with fresh tomatoes as well. It's just a little bit faster if you have canned. And we're just going to dump our potatoes in. You want enough potatoes that once it's been diced up, fills the bottom of the pan. So we're just going to use our spatula. Now you could obviously use fresh, homegrown, or store-bought potatoes. In that case, you'd want to boil them before this recipe. And unlike country potatoes, where we're deep frying them, or hash browns, where we're slicing them and shredding them, we're simply dicing these. It's sort of a cross between sauteed potatoes and like a country potato. So we just want a nice, even dice. And I'm not being too particular about the sizes as long as they're small. Because what we're going to do with the eggs in just a minute or two after this starts to reduce is we're going to crack them right on top of this, give them a quick stir, and the eggs are going to cook in and bind this all together. Think of it as a really, really, really thick pancake. So that's getting right. Now I am going to add just a little bit of spices to this blend. I have some paprika and some black pepper, and I'm just going to thinly coat the top of this, just like that. Not too much. And I'm going to smash our garlic, pull that apart. And on the garlic, you want to thinly dice it. And we don't want to fry the garlic, so we're just going to toss this in just before the egg so it's sandwiched between the two layers. And that's going to allow the flavor of the garlic to permeate the entire dish without it overpowering the dish. So we're just going to take that, use our knife as a spatula, drop that in there like so. Grab the little bits that's remaining. There we go. And we'll use our spice spoon to give that a quick stir. Perfect. I'm going to take a couple of these fresh eggs, and we're just going to break them right over the top. Right over the top. There we go. Now you don't have to worry about turning down your heat during this process. Just let it cook. Once we've cracked these eggs and given them that initial stir, we'll go ahead and turn the heat down. So I'm not scrambling these, I'm just breaking the yolks and stirring them right over the top, because we want that yolk to soak down into the potato. And as soon as that's been done, we're going to go ahead and pour our brine back in to the pot over here and take this frying pan and put it right over the top as a lid. This is basically a Dutch oven, even though it's not a purpose-built Dutch oven. And we're doing this instead of a lid because we don't want to steam it. We're letting all that steam escape, but this cast iron pot on top is going to absorb some of that heat and bounce it back, which will help us to cook the eggs on top. And what we're going to be looking for is for this top of the eggs right here to start to solidify. So we're going to go ahead and just cover that again. And I'm going to adjust my heat just a tiny bit to a simmer, and we're going to let that sit for 5 minutes. So we're just about ready to check it. The eggs on the top won't be done, but that's okay. We're gonna lift that open. You can see that it's almost stewing, which is a good thing. So now what we're gonna do is you're gonna notice it's almost gonna be like a pancake. Now at this stage, there's a couple different ways you could do this. If you had a oven available, you could put this in under the broiler for a few minutes and turn this into an actual pancake. Or if you turn this low and you're willing to just let it simmer for a while, you can turn it into a pancake. We're going to now turn this into a hash. So I'm just going to spin this around real quick so that I don't accidentally lose my whole thing. And I'm just turning it around like so. And look how dry that has gotten. Perfect consistency for a hash. Just like if you're going to make a scrambled egg, you don't want to overly scramble it. You're just turning the pieces individually over, and that's going to let them cook real quick. And at this point, because we're using cast iron, you could even turn this off. The residual heat here is enough to cook this. So we're just going to thin this out so that plenty of that heat transfers. Okay. Now we do want a tiny bit more heat here, so we're going to just sprinkle a little bit more of our paprika over the top now that it's been cooked. Not too much, because it already has plenty of seasoning. Then we're going to take our Daikon Radish, and we're going to do a nice thick garnish over the top of this. You could also use kohlrabi or thinly diced onions if you wanted. Or if you don't have microgreens available, you could also use a regular radish. And that is now ready to serve and eat. Enjoy.